Hi everyone, posted by Callum here. Thanks for joining. I'm here with Mr. TotallyTettey, Jack, and James, the usual guys who are on with me, and some weird developments in the world of football over in the last 24 hours. So on, Saturday, say for example, we were all over the moon, us three all Norwich fans, about the prospect of going up to the Premier League, and then literally the day after, it sounds like the Premier League could be getting completely torn apart and changed forever. We don't know exactly if this is going to stay yet. We remember Project Big Picture a while ago, but at right now, what this is looking like, as of right now when this video is going up, 12 teams have put their name to a new Super League, and quite frankly, in my opinion, it doesn't have a lot going for it at the moment. It's disgraceful. We can't pretend that obviously UEFA are against it, the FA, the Premier League. We can't pretend that they're all perfect and that they haven't priced the working man out of the game as it is. But quite frankly, this would take it to another level. It's Americanizing the game we love. It's greed. Jack, have you got more to add?
It's just a dark day for football, really. It's just, uh, I mean, just quickly touching the subject, obviously with Norwich, because obviously we are Norwich fans. Fantastic moment that we're back in the Premier League officially, and
Absolutely.
what a buzz it was. And here we are now, 48 hours later, and it's just, it's just which that's just forgotten about really, because obviously this is massive for
And it's
for worldwide football, not just European football, because obviously there'll be plenty of people around the world who idolize these big clubs. And I mean, I don't know, I feel ashamed because I've just found this to have this shirt here, Atletico Madrid, because they're one of the 12 clubs to be in the Super League. So that's just been chucked on the floor. I'm not going to be wearing that anymore. But
yeah, it's disgraceful. And
yeah,
if you look at specifically the ones in this country, the six clubs, it's six clubs that, quite frankly, they think they're bigger than everyone else. That's the way I think of it. And they're like, oh, look at, Norwich, Palace, Burnley, Brighton, whoever. It's like we don't need them because I know what they're saying is they're saying it's one to do midweek. We still want to be in the Premier League. I'm not sure if I buy that completely. I think they're only interested in themselves, and this is a way to make themselves bigger than everything else to maximize profits. It jeopardizes the Premier League, of course it does, and it just the fans were not consulted about this. It's a bunch of owners. I think Gary Neville touched on it in obviously his rant that went very viral. A bunch of owners. They are not connected to the sport at all. They are just sitting, having Zoom calls, all their money. Just six wealthy families, and obviously the ones in Italy and Spain as well. I think if and I do. Unfortunately, I feel. Obviously, I want this to be chill stopped. It's a ridiculous decision, but I feel like it's going to be hard. Like Man City, for example, when they got their Champions League ban, they didn't. They just paid every lawyer and managed to get themselves in the good books of UEFA again by just paying lawyers. And you just wonder, Man City are together and 11 other clubs currently, all super rich. This is going to be war has started in the game that we love. I mean, James, have you got anything else to add? How are you feeling about this?
I think the most annoying thing about it is, to me, like Jack said, I got so excited over our promotion on Saturday that
Same,
I
yeah,
don't think I got to that level of drunk celebration for my life. I got so drunk that I'm still feeling it 2 days later. And the
yeah,
worst thing for me, the thing that pisses me off the most, is that not even the managers or some of the players have been informed about any of the information about it coming out this weekend or anything. And that, if you're not even telling your head coach about the plans or anything going forward in competitions and whatnot, then there's obviously some level of greed. And the worst thing is the fact that I think, as many people have already said over the last 24, 48, 24 hours, I should say, these, people, there's a level of definite level of greed um, in there. And the worst thing is for me is the fact that to get into the position to play against teams, to play against the best of the best, you have to earn the right. And to me, there's no individual club on the history of the planet in football that's automatically earns the right You could be a trillionaire. That does not mean that you're like that does not give you the right to necessarily be the best. Well, be the best.
Yeah.
And that's effectively showing the massive divide there is.
Yeah, absolutely. You're taking you there, but literally, we've said in the past, oh, these teams can buy positions. They are quite literally buying positions. They are buying themselves into an elite club, which they can't get relegated from. Saying, oh, we'll let a few guests in, but this is the elite club. And at the end, it's brands, and it's just as I said, very Americanized. I mean, can you imagine being a Liverpool fan, for example? Liverpool, is a proud club there, but their slogan, "They'll never walk alone." Really passionate fan base, a huge community work as well that they do. Avram Glazer is the one signing their club statement at the bottom of their website last night. Oh, Avram Glazer, the vice. It makes of United. Could you imagine? I was saying earlier to you guys. Could you imagine if like Marcus Evans or whoever now is in charge of Ipswich signed off our club statements? It's everything. Just nothing sits right about it at all. And the whole Americanization of sport, well, it's like obviously it's nothing wrong about America have sports, that's fine, but this is our English football league pyramid that they are tearing up here. I mean, I don't really know. Are we going to have what they're going to do to the game? We don't know yet. Are we going to have draft? Is it going to be every time there's a goal scored? Is it going to be Harry Kane? This goal was brought to you by Burger King. We just don't know. We just don't know, do we yet? I mean, Jack, are you worried about like the sport changing?
Definitely, yeah, because obviously, there's so much been said in the last 24 hours. Like, obviously, the key thing is obviously with the Big Six going into the Super League, then get kicked out of the Premier League. That's going to make it very interesting. Like, will they keep it as just the 14 teams, or are they going to bring in more teams from the Championship and make it a 20-team league? If so, what's going to happen to the Championship? Are you going to bring more teams up? It's big decisions have got to be made, and God knows what's going to happen. But obviously, I mean, obviously, go back to Norwich and Norwich's sake, we're at the Premier League, fantastic. But it's just obviously it's been said before, the thing we love about being in the Premier League is we're playing the biggest teams in the country, and we get our chance to prove, what we are. And obviously, it sounds like we're not going to play them. Obviously, dare I say, the brilliant memory of last year's season, we beat Man City at home. We're probably never going to get the chance to do that again. It's just, it's very sad.
Yeah, for me is that go on.
I was going to say, the last game that I went to was, of course, as well, on top of the Man City one with the win of it last season. The last game I went to before the pandemic properly screwed things over was going to Tottenham away and beating them like on a penalty shootout to get to the FA Cup quarterfinals for the first time in, what was it, 27 years? That, to me, after the news this weekend, makes those wins that little bit sweeter.
Exactly. And you know what? It's what you said, Jack, there about, just what's the fans and all that. It's all so important. But unfortunately, what this has shown, they're so out of touch, these Big Six owners. What they've seen from the last year in football and the tragedy it's brought is that, football can survive without the fans. They're seeing, COVID, everyone's been watching the matches on TV. We've got global fan bases. And in a way, they haven't had the fans to put pressure on them. If the fans are in the stadium right now, could you imagine? It's so sneaky the way they've done this. And it really just does not, it will not sit right for me. And it won't sit right for a lot of fans. People have brought up interesting points. To me, I've obviously on Twitter and social media, people have been discussing it. I'm pretty sure most people are against this, obviously. A few people have wondered, people said this about the Premier League when it started. And yeah, the Premier League's got its own issues, no doubt about it. Are they correct in saying it will bring positivity, it will bring more cash to everyone? I'm like, I just can't trust it, because look at the people that are behind this, the Real Madrid president, and then 3 American owners in the Premier League, 2 of which, Kroenke and Glazer, have been really criticised for just the fact they have not been connected with the fan bases of the clubs that they have at all. And I don't think they've really got sympathy for the rest of the English football pyramid. I'd love for I wouldn't love for it to happen, but but if it did happen, you'd hope that there'd be relief, because it would shatter livelihoods, and it would shatter the English Football League system. I'm
Yeah.
just. This should have, when they released this statement and the bad media press was happening about this, you could tell the fan reaction was bad. They should have done a U-turn. They should have cancelled this. What, 2 minutes after they announced it? If even that, they should have said, "Sorry, this is a mistake. This shouldn't have happened." I don't really know how it still hasn't. Obviously, who knows what's going to be happening when you're watching this. I'm hoping people are going to be fighting this. But you've mentioned about what will the Premier League do? Will the Premier League kick? Because there have been suggestions, 6 teams, they could all be chucked out of the league. But that's what I want to know. Do the Premier League actually have the guts to do that, or is it like the Big Six are saying, we're too big, we're getting you all this money, you can't kick us out? It's not a nice situation at all, Jack. I mean, God, what else have we got to say? Really, this is just.
But there's so much to say. It's just. There's a lot to take in. That's the thing. It's just, there's so many points to be made, so many arguments to be made, and obviously, one thing I'm glad about is that the majority of all football fans are coming together. I mean, even some of obviously the fans of like Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, some of them, they're against this, and I'm glad at them. Obviously, what's next for them? Are they going to stick with their team? Are they just going to boycott them and support another club, a non-league club or whatever? But
Yeah,
I don't know. It's
I respect, because as they said about the Manchester United and their history of how huge they were, you can't disrespect that. But I respect those that are now going to support FC United of Manchester. That club was formed for reasons for this.
Yeah, back in 2005.
Yeah, for like greed to completely take over, which, let's face it, as I touched on earlier, it already kind of has. I think this is only just highlighting it. It's fueling more anger, which is good. But yeah, I think if Manchester United fans are going there, and it brings on the debate of fan ownership. Leipzig, Bayern, and Dortmund have currently not responded. We don't know yet. I do think it's a stressful situation for everyone involved. I think some people at Bayern will be thinking, this is far down the line now. Will we be able to make revenue? Will we jump onto this? And obviously they'd have a lot to think about, because obviously in the league they're in, the 50+1 rule brings on the whole topic of fan ownership. And then the other one is PSG. I know PSG are a bit matey with a few on the UEFA board. That's probably what's stopping this for now. I think you get PSG on there. You've then got PSG, Man City, just them two financially. They could pay for literally every lawyer in the world. I just think they've got this plan, and they've got the backing of 6 billion at least from the banks in America.
Something ridiculous like that, yeah.
And then they've already got the backing from the owners. It's quite. They've clearly been working hard on this over the last few months, and the fans haven't been in, and it's disgusting, really. It's just disgusting.
Ironically, there's only one side in Germany that I can actually properly see going, and that for me is RB Leipzig. And the reason for me there is the fact that I'm almost certain that RB Leipzig are the only club in Germany, correct me if I'm wrong, that don't have fans as majority shareholders.
That's true. That's correct.
And that's mostly because, of course, Red Bull are the owners of the football club, and are pretty much bankrolling that football club. And for that reason, alone for me, is the only reason as to why I can see them being the only German club being able to go, and which is the most disgraceful thing about it, really.
Yeah, I mean,
franchises going into it.
I think I think I could maybe see Leipzig, and I could even see maybe Bayern going. And I think if they did, it would obviously cause a huge uproar. I can't see Dortmund joining. I think especially if they joined, I mean, you'd think they're a really proud club. Really great, terrific atmosphere for the working man. You'd think of that's what I've associated the German league with, really. If Dortmund and obviously, Schalke don't deserve to be in it. Look at how they're doing this season. Obviously, they're a huge club as well, but that's the thing. Germany aren't on board yet. It would be interesting to see how many other clubs. And what I found interesting is Steve Parish was talking earlier. The Palace guy. I think it was him, wasn't it, on Monday Night Football? Yeah,
it was. Yeah.
He was saying about, it's all the Premier League clubs are against it. I'm interested. Fair play for him for saying he's against it. I'm thinking, would all the Premier League owners reject this check? Because someone was making the point earlier that the SPFL were against it. But I have to admit, if Rangers and Celtic, there's been talks of them leaving the Scottish League for more competition, more money for years. if Rangers and Celtic were given this check of $425 million just to accept the place in this competition, would they accept it? I have to think quite a lot of teams would, and that's the sad thing about it.
It's just one word to sum it up. It's greed.
Greed. Yeah, it is. It is greed. And it just shows how important it is that we go and support our local and like properly go, but obviously to whether it's the team you support, it's not in the Big Six, whether they're in Championship, whether they're in League One, whether they're League Two, whether they are in non-league. We need to fall in love with football at the grassroots level again, like properly, and I think that's going to be so important when COVID's properly finished, because obviously we're still in the transition away from it now as currently, that is going to be important because we need to see the strength of the game and like what it can do to many people and how the joy it can give us, because this is I can't remember ever. It's weird to feel like this just after promotion, but like I feel everyone in the football world has been quite shocked by this.
Yeah, the worst thing for me is the fact that with the exception of the last year or so with COVID and whatever, with the effects of course, I think the Premier League and FA are saying that they might just hoof the top 6 out of the top flight and things like that. But the biggest problem is they get a complete ban from domestic football. The issue is, of course, if it affects the FA Cup system, of course, if you think about it, with, of course, like I say, with the exception of COVID, if a club, just like early in the season, when Marine, even at home, played against Spurs in the Cup, imagine the jubilation that those sets of players and their fans get on top of the financial income, especially if that tie was at Spurs and all the fans were in. Marine would get an absolute unbelievable amount of financial gain, and unfortunately because of COVID as well, that club like that are already losing money, and a system like this is now affecting it even more. And we've got, I think Gary Neville was saying on Sky yesterday that we've got League One and League Two clubs on the brink, and anyone who isn't in the League One or League Two is in probably about a 10 times worse position. Even teams in the Championship are struggling. And the worst thing is, the big question is without the top 6 in the Premier League, where each club, I believe, you get 90 to 100 million just for TV revenue for being in the top flight of English football. My only concern is that without those clubs, this is not me defending them at all, but with this system, where is that 100 million pounds going to stay, or is it actually going to go?
No, it's at risk, no doubt. I think current TV deals end in 20. I might be completely wrong. Do they end like next? Because I know they signed big, long TV contracts. I think they've got to negotiate new ones soon, and obviously,
I think it's 2 years.
Yeah, this might be 2022 or whatever. They might need to negotiate more. This is going to change everything, and obviously, it's kind of just said, listen, we know the Premier League's been paying all you lot like loads, but it's only the 6 that matter, and it's just. It isn't on really. Like I think there needs to be people speaking out about this, and it's not a good idea. I think pretty much everyone can see it's not a good idea, apart from the Big 6 and maybe overseas fans who want access to watch their clubs if they support a really big club. But other than that, this is a terrible idea. Jack, here's the thing I want to know now, and I'll ask you this as well, James, because what we're doing right now, obviously, I'm not happy about it. I don't think any of us three are happy about this right now. Is this something where we're just going to change? Are we going to be, in a few years' time, we're going to be like, this is all good. We're watching the big teams play now. On the European Super League, we're all making a lot of fuss about nothing. Would you actually back this? Would you actually pay? Would you pay to watch a European Super League match, or are you boycotting this?
Don't think I would personally. I mean, if you ask me as like a kid, big teams playing against each other consistently, I like the idea of that because obviously as a kid you love seeing like the likes of Messi, Ronaldo play against each other. But as right now, like God no, give me Norwich football or any non-league football. I'd rather watch that proper football, compared to just basically money,
Exactly. Like, I love Norwich in the Championship. I've said it for years. I love Championship teams. You got proper clubs there with like great fans. You can go on really interesting away days as well. Really interesting places. Come across every game is unpredictable. I know games can be unpredictable in the Premier League, but you see more of that in the Championship. James, are you backing the idea of the European Super League or ever going? You think it would change?
I don't think it'll ever. I don't think I'll ever back it, simply because for a start, I almost, except for maybe a Champions League final or a semi-final,
Yeah.
I almost never watch big clubs, especially. I think, especially in league football, almost every single time I've sat down, especially in recent years, I think this season, earlier in the season, Liverpool hosted Manchester United at Anfield, and that was the first proper big clash of a top six side that I actually sat down and watched, probably in 4 or 5 years,
And
that ended up being 0-0, and it was probably
shock.
absolutely.
and that to me, that was the worst game I've seen at all. And you can just look at the last 10 years and the amount of top in the actual league games between Arsenal, Liverpool, Man United, or whatever, Liverpool, Man United in particular, the amount of 0-0s there have been between these top six sides. They don't go for it in the league unless it's a knockout competition.
Exactly.
And that is the biggest disgrace of all. If these clubs can't take it, and if they're not interested enough in the league, and if every single time I look at it, it's a 0-0 draw, then if I like I said, this is the first time I've sat and watched a full 90 minutes in 4 or 5 years, and if it's a 0-0, then that's going to turn me off even more. So I'm not going to support it. And I was actually as well. I was watching Sky Sports this morning, and I think I can't remember who it was that said it, but he played for Liverpool between 2002 and 2007. I think he played for QPR as well at some point. But he's made a really, really good point in saying, if someone what we're going to miss is without the Champions League, if this competition goes ahead, is we're going to miss a tie of someone like Shakhtar Donetsk against the Liverpool, Real, whatever. And that in that particular season, that Shakhtar Donetsk squad could be having an absolute stormer of a season, and one of their players could be 21, 22, and could be doing so fantastically well. And in that game in particular, against the Real or Barcelona, he could be doing a 12 out of 10. We're not going to see that anymore, and those are the sorts of games where players that 21, 22-year-old will get signed up straight away by that side, just like maybe, I don't know what, look at Erling Haaland when he was at Salzburg. Yeah. He was, everybody started hearing about him, and then they were having a good campaign in Europe. And then all of a sudden, within half a season, he was snapped up by Dortmund. It's that sort of thing that we're going to miss. And we're going to miss that a lot because we're not. This stage for these sorts of sides aren't going to be there anymore because of this Super League, which is what we're going to miss. And these sides are going to be affected as well. And I think here's the thing. The thing I feel most annoyed about is maybe the smaller countries, really, in particular. No offense to any. I mean, I've got Scottish roots, but anyone who's actually Scottish, and is a fan of a Scottish club, probably will agree with me. But Celtic and Rangers in particular, they're going to be hugely affected by it because, especially in the COVID period again, Champions League and any European football will massively benefit a club like that. Even someone as small as in I don't know, in San Marino or Malta, even in the super early rounds of the Champions League, the money from this competition is what those clubs and teams and those sorts of divisions, right from the bottom of it, well, these are what these teams are living off,
Exactly.
and able to fund their clubs. Even if it's not a lot of money, it's the money that these teams are thriving off, and they're now no longer going to be able to have any sort of money because the Super League will have pretty much wipe it out, and that's the worst thing about it for me, which is why exactly I'm not going to be backing it at all.
Yeah, and you made good points there. Like, it's not just about England, it's not just about Spain, it's not just about Italy, etc. You know, we've got like all the other like small European countries that love, even if it's just the early qualifying rounds. That's going to be what's happening to that. And yeah, great points about Celtic and Rangers. Their models of being top clubs, they thrive on European football. This is going to be changing forever. That's why I think that if Celtic or Rangers were offered the chance to join this Super League, I think they'd snap it up. I think they would. And it's sad, but you know that's realist. That's what I think, and it would be all I'm interested in is like how many key figures from football are we going to see come out about this? As I said earlier, UEFA, FA, the Premier League, you know, they've all got problems, all of them, but they know that they've got to unite because this is just not right. They've got to stop it at some point. You can't go on for this long and keep getting more and more and more. How far up is this going to go? We talk about Haaland, for example. You mentioned him earlier, fantastic player, fantastic. Contract demands 1 million quid a week. Like it's just not. This is not sustainable. It is going to eat itself. Like the whole sport is going to eat itself. Clubs have gone out of business. There's going to be more if this continues. You can't say much more than that. And I'm not sure. Oh yeah, and Jose Mourinho also got sacked. Small story. Like that also happened today.
Yeah. The worst thing for me that winds me up the most is the fact that there's going to be the new competition that UEFA announced a few years ago that's been planning for a couple of years of the European Conference League that's going to be starting next season. That's not going to be chances are that's not going to be happening anymore.
No one's going to care about that now. Like
nobody. Yeah, this was meant to be a competition as well that were for maybe the lower competitive leagues usually, or maybe someone like a West Ham or maybe a Real Sociedad, or even someone in like I don't know Norway or any of the Scandinavian clubs to maybe get that little bit further to get a bit more of extra financial gain again, and that's also because of this that competition probably is not going to go ahead, and that's the biggest thing. And the worst thing is the fact that I think the majority of I don't mean to get a little bit political, but I think you'll find 99% of the football clubs were made by the working class people.
Yeah.
And now that has been taken away because football ticket prices have gone up and up and up and up, and TV prices have gone up regularly high, so high, and that is now no longer probably, and this will just make that worse as well. So
yeah,
it's just ridiculous.
It's ridiculous, and I think we're coming up to half an hour now, lads. I don't know if we want to like leave it here for now. Obviously, I'm sure there'll be more developments about this. It'll be interesting to hear maybe from what you guys watching and or listening. If you guys have your own thoughts about this, leave them down below. Whoever you support, if you're, I will listen to all opinions. Obviously, if you are in favour of it, that will be a little bit weird for me. But say if you're not, if you're against it, which I'm sure most of you are. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching, really. Do you guys have anything to add?
Liverpool are winning 1-0 against Leeds at the moment, so...
You're competing for their top four, but like, at the end of the day, what's it going to matter?
Doesn't really matter, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. But yeah, I think most people not too happy with the big six at the moment. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you're new. We do all sorts of football content on here, Norwich and Norwich related. And yeah, we'll see you later, guys.